Welcome back, our dear viewers. As we have promised earlier, we are going to talk today about the choice of Luxor as a world of capital tourism. How we can use that to promote the tourism in Luxor, and what are the steps that should be taken in order to increase the tourism there. We are very much delighted to have our dear guest in the studio, Mr. Hossam Fangary, tour guide, to shed more light about that issue. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Good morning. First, I'd like to shed light that Egypt is hosting the 5th Global Summit on City Tourism in Luxor in these days. So, with the attendance actually of many world figures. Can you tell us more about the significance of holding this global summit in Luxor, and to what extent it is different from previous summits held in Istanbul, Moscow, Barcelona and Marrakesh?
Yes, actually, maybe very important to understand what was the title of the previous summit. Actually, the World Tourism Organization was discussing in the previous one the security and safety when they were meeting in Malaga in May of this year, and choosing Luxor or Egypt as a country. This is very significant for us, that you know, the international community is marking us as a safe and secure country. And if we, during some time, the south or Luxor and Aswan, the places over there were considered as unsafe place. That's why our cultural tourism was affected so highly in the last 5 years. Now, with the hosting of Luxor to be the world tourism capital, this is very important for us, and we have to make big use of this.
Yes,
actually, we have, as we say always, we have to get the media, the international media in there. We have to get many events taking place in Luxor. Luxor has to be our spotlight for this year and maybe for 2017. Why not if we give free, let's say, permissions for films or international concerts or whatever is that can give us propaganda to Luxor? Because at the very end, if we talk about Luxor, we are talking about Egypt indirectly. In spite of the fact that Egypt now is not only culture tourism, we have leisure, we have adventure, we have beach tourism, but always it's linked to the mentality of most of the Western society that our country is a historical country.
Mr. Hossam, as you have kindly mentioned, that we need to do more in order to promote Luxor. Luxor has about one third of the world artifacts, I believe. I think that most of the people worldwide do know about Luxor and how beautiful it is, how it is rich in its artifacts. So how we should know that ourselves, and we should play a role in promoting that.
I'll tell you. Actually, a very easy and first step for that is that Luxor has to be an open city. You know, we have a very important link between the Karnak and the Luxor temple, the Karnak and Luxor temples, which is the ram-headed sphinxes, or the Sphinx's Avenue. This is something like 4 kilometers from one temple to the other. And, you know, something like a few years ago when, you know, the ex-governor of Luxor was taking much importance in that, we have to get this place as open for, you know, tourists to walk down the street, to go from one temple to the other, and this never happens. You know, usually groups are taken by bus or by, you know, any kind of vehicles from one to the other. If we get some kind of, you know, advertising that we have a group of multinational tourists, and they have taken their tour walking down the streets of Luxor from one temple to the other, this is a very, very positive propaganda to the international community that, you know, tourists are wandering down in the city without any kind of feeling that this is not a safe city. And at the same time, you know, this is the kind of tourism that a Western mentality is accustomed to. Usually when they go to Europe, they are not that, you know, going with organized tourism. You know, they go on their, you know, on their own to one place to the other. This does not happen in Egypt.
Yep.
It's always, you know, based on organized from one place to the other, and we never leave the tourists to go by themselves. I think this is a very important message that has to be sent to the international community, as we have those representatives of the World Tourism Organization in there, that they have to be, you know, maybe talking to these tourists that are now in Luxor, and to give an international message to everybody that Luxor is safe and Egypt as a country is safe also.
Also, Luxor is hosting also the United Nations World Tourism Organization's 104th meeting at this days also.
Yes.
With representatives of more than 50 countries in attendance. So what are the topics expected to be tackled in these meetings?
Well, actually, when the World Tourism Organization, they choose, the executive committee,
Yes.
actually, they choose a city for, you know, this is the 104th, the 103rd was in Malaga in May. So they move from one city to the other, and they have what is a general agenda for them. What is important for us, whatever they are discussing.
Yes.
What is important for us, because, you know, with technical things, it's not that important.
Yes.
What is important for us, that the International Organization of Tourism chose our country and our
Indeed.
most significant historical city to be a city for their summit and for their meeting. We have to concentrate on what is our homework on
Yes.
that. You know, the governorate of Luxor.
To promote for this abroad.
Of course.
This is our mission.
The Minister of Tourism, I know that he is there, you know, permanently, and he is following all what's happening there. This is very important. I think also the High or the Supreme Council of Tourism, which was founded and, you know, or let's say taken once again to be existing with the presidency of President Sisi himself. There has to be some kind of existence in there.
Yes,
to know that with the highest standards of the country, they are watching that, they are sending this message towards the tourists there and the international community, with the normal people, with the normal you know, vendor in the bazaar, with the normal tour guide. Everybody there is sending one message.
Yes.
Indeed, Mr. Hossam Al-Fangary, to wrap up our episode, what's your tips here? What's your suggestion in order to have Luxor back as an open museum for the tourists in a very quick comment?
You know, our problem in Egypt with our mentality is that if today is the feast, everything happens at the feast. The very next day, we forget, we take the chairs and we leave everything as it was before the feast. We have to change this mentality. The feast has to continue.
Yes,
you know, till we take it like it's 6 months at least till we have the next meeting in which Luxor is the World Tourism.
Yes.
Indeed.
Okay. Mr. Hossam Al-Fangary, tour guide, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Now, dear viewers, this brings us to the end of today's edition of The Breakfast Show. I'd like to thank my colleague Mahisi Rabia. Thank you, Mahisi.
Thank you very much, Shireen. And thank you very much, our dear viewers, for watching. And tomorrow is another crew with The Breakfast Show. So till then, it's goodbye.